If you really want to unplug and go off grid with your RV adventures, look into GoPower for all of your solar and lithium-ion needs. GoPower's complete charging and power delivery systems just work. Charge your batteries anywhere the sun is shining with GoPower solar kits. Stay out there longer with reliable lithium-ion batteries. Operate your appliances with robust inverters. GoPower doesn't just make components. They also make complete systems that just work, and you can do it.
Whether you're a weekend warrior or a boondocking full-timer, GoPower solar kits, inverters, chargers, batteries, they're the leading choice for dependable power wherever your adventure takes you. Their batteries even carry a 10-year warranty, so tons of time to have amazing adventures.
GoPower even has learning resources and project planning information on their website. Check out GoPower at gpelectric.com.
That's gpelectric.com for any part of your off-grid electrical needs.
Hey everybody, we are the team from the RV Small Talk podcast. I'm Clint.
I'm PJ.
And I'm Lindsay, and thank you guys for listening today.
PJ, I wonder if any of our listeners have heard about solar and lithium-ion battery systems.
Well, I bet they have all heard about it on the forums and on the videos and online. But you know what? It's hard to kind of understand what it's all about. And we have been doing so much of it. We thought we'd bring it to the podcast.
It's true. It really is all the rage. People have questions. What does solar actually do? What do lithium ions? What's the benefit there in lithium ion? And how does it all translate to me using my stuff?
Lance Campers has jumped in with an option for complete solar and lithium that you can actually get put in at the factory.
So that's kind of a progression of what's been happening lately is manufacturers are actually giving that option. And it hasn't been all that long, maybe months, maybe a year or so. Manufacturers are installing it there at the factory.
Right. Certainly not all of them, but it is starting to become possible out there with some of the manufacturers. And I think that's nice. I mean, I think people that buy campers and trailers, there is a certain confidence in having the factory put it together.
Right.
Because then you know whatever system it is tried and true. They've tested it. They know what they're doing. You don't have to know everything about it.
Right.
You know?
And I trust absolutely the systems that our guys in the service department put in. They do fantastic work. However, if I'm off the street, if I'm buying a new one, you're absolutely right. There's a sense of stability in going with the manufacturer install.
And that's why I think GoPower, that we mentioned in this a couple of times, and now they're sponsoring the podcast, is kind of a cool thing because they actually have systems that are all put together. You don't have to go out and research the best inverter and then research the best solar and then try to piece it all together.
Right.
It's really just a plug and play system. And so you can look on their website and see what happens. So a lot of retrofitting is going to be going on in the near future. And you have factory options. So I thought it was really nice that we get to talk to Scott from Lance and you know, just about the hows and whys of lithium ion. We're not going to get talking about all the technicalities. We'll save that for another time.
Exactly. We won't get way into the electrical engineering numbers game of this. Just the concepts.
Yeah. Just the concept of, wow, do I need to be thinking about this? So if you ever wondered, take a listen. Scott's going to give us some insight.
Let's dive in.
All right. Hey, today we're going to visit with Scott. Thanks for joining us, Scott.
My pleasure.
And, you know, we get so many questions about energy, and lithium ion is the latest thing. So I appreciate you coming to help us maybe shed some light on some misconceptions and figure out, should people do this or not? Right?
I hope to be able to shed a little light on that. And it is a big misconception. I, as a factory rep, probably get 20 phone calls a week.
Really?
So you really know.
Well, I know how I answer it.
Well, what you do know is what the questions are.
I do know what the questions have been lately, yes.
What is the biggest question you get?
Once I get my lithium-ion batteries, will it run the air conditioner?
Really?
Yes.
That makes sense because we get so many people who say, okay, I want this big solar panel. What will it run? Mm-hmm. And we have to explain.
That is part of a system.
It really won't run anything.
Right.
So that's not what it does.
Correct.
So the answer to that question is no.
Absolutely not.
Oh, it's absolutely not.
Absolutely not.
What if I have two?
Even if you have two.
What if I have 10?
Even if you have 10, it is not going to run a 110 volt air conditioner.
All right.
Right. So we're talking about components, and everyone's focusing on the buzzword lithium-ion phosphate, whatever, batteries, and that's like the star of the band, like the singer or
Yes.
the special guitarist or whatever.
Without a doubt.
Everyone's talking about it, and yet it's still
Kind of a mystery.
just a piece of the whole works.
Well, can we back up? Because everybody may not be all the way in on this. I know I would not have been a year ago. Can we back up to what are the battery choices? What's the normal battery that people usually get? And what are the other choices? Because lithium-ion is one of them. And now that Lance offers lithium-ion from the factory, which not a lot of manufacturers do, but a few do, let's talk about battery choices briefly.
Briefly, as far as a manufacturer's perspective, most RV dealers put in a lead acid battery. A group 24 is standard. They can go group 27, group 29, group 31 is a little larger. Most trailers don't have space for that size battery.
Yeah.
And that's just about how many amp hours it is.
And that's just a basic battery like we have in a car.
Well, it's not actually a car battery. It's an RV marine deep cycle battery.
Okay.
It just looks the same.
It
So you
looks
got to
the
read
same.
it.
Yes.
And
it
you
does
put
look
water in the
same.
little
you
tubes.
put water in the little tubes if you want it to last longer than a year or two.
Distilled water.
Distilled
Point.
Okay. Do you remember that word briefly?
Do you remember the word weeds? We talked about that before we started. Let's not get in the weeds. Batteries are definitely.
It's 4
can get there.
syllables. You just use 5 sentences to correct me.
And you mentioned that you didn't really know a lot about this till recently. I wasn't introduced it until December when I was at our last factory training is when we started offering lithium. The lead acid batteries have been the standard battery for 40 years. The 40 years I've been in the business. So you also have some 6-volt golf cart type batteries. And then you jump up to the lithium batteries. So 90% of them is between the consumer and the dealer.
Okay.
But yes, Lance did start offering the lithium as part of an option group because the controller has to be different.
Okay.
So the difference between a battery and a lithium battery is like a superhero cape. It's just like a...
Yes.
It holds more energy
Stronger.
in a lithium-ion battery. Now, lithium-ion is what they have in a smart car, right?
Yes.
Okay.
I didn't know that.
That's what all the
So
Teslas
smart.
are made of is lithium-ion batteries.
Okay.
There you go.
No, it's not just that it holds so much energy, it's that you can deplete it more completely. Whereas a standard lead acid battery, you're really doing it harm if you deplete it more than 60 or 50%, right?
Not necessarily with an RV marine type deep cycle battery. That's why it's called a deep cycle battery. A car battery, yes. I come from Minnesota. I've lived for the last 30 years in Colorado. Now a Texan.
Yay.
We don't really need cold cranking amps down here. But in those areas where it does get 20 below, you need a battery that's going to push a lot of power immediately. And if you drain that battery down to 10%, you're going to ruin it. With an RV marine deep cycle battery, it's called deep cycle because you can drain it down farther. It's going to not work as well after 50%. It doesn't give you as much charge. It slows down, but you can drain it without ruining it, where a car battery will get ruined if you bring it down to zero.
Okay.
So that's one of the big differences between an RV marine deep cycle battery and a car battery.
Right. And the lithium, do they charge faster, more efficiently?
The lithium will charge faster. It'll also be able to drain and use it more completely. Okay, again, in a deep cycle lead acid battery at about 50%, you're not going to be able to get much more use out of that. Where the lithium, you can go down to the 10% area, the 5% area, and still use all of that battery.
So when I'm talking about you get more use out of the battery, it holds more energy, we are talking very broadly. Can you give me the specific, is it done by amps? Like the difference between, say, a standard, he's putting on his glasses, folks. We're laughing.
Cheat sheet.
So if we're looking at the difference between a standard deep cycle marine battery, which is very standard in this industry, the wet cell batteries that you put water in, and you compare that to a lithium ion battery, what kind of power differences are we going to see?
I think what you're looking at, and on my little cheat sheet here says a lead acid battery stores 40 watt hours, where a lithium battery can produce 250 watt hours. So the watt hours are what you're burning from your 12 volt, whether it's your furnace fan, you're charging your computer, your water heater, brain, your brain
And
on
those
your
will all use
refrigerator.
different amounts
Yes.
of watt hours.
Yes.
Right.
Well, since we're not trying to be an engineer here, is it worth
Darn.
it? I know. Well, it would take a lot of time with me, okay?
If I could, knee-jerk reaction, the only thing that keeps me out of lithium is the initial price point. That's the only thing that keeps me out right now.
Well, okay. Let's compare pricing. What's the price difference?
The lithium battery installed from the factory is $1,000 a piece. I've heard of them on the internet. You can buy them for $700 or $800 at this point. Obviously, you can get everything cheaper on the internet, they say.
Right. And set it up yourself.
And set it up yourself. Don't know if your charger controller will be proper in your converter.
Right.
Okay,
all that is
Yeah.
done properly from the factory.
That's what I have a question about, because it's not just like you can get a lithium battery and replace the one in your RV, right?
Correct.
Like just swap it out. Like, so
Correct.
what else do you need and why do you need it?
If you have an older charger converter, an older trailer, fifth wheel, what have you, you will have to replace a circuit board in that charger converter.
Or just replace it with
Or
one that
replace
will
the
work
whole,
with
yes, or replace the whole charger
lithium-ion.
converter.
And why is that?
The type of power that produces, I guess. I don't know exactly why it is.
Yeah, I've heard that the lithium-ion battery, they charge differently, and the last 10 or 20% needs to be a slightly different push into the battery to charge it appropriately and not damage it,
Right.
and to get it 100%.
One of the reasons Lance won't just sell you a unit ready for lithium is if you put lead acid batteries in a charger converter that's set for lithium, you'll ruin it. And the other way, if you put lithium batteries in a unit that's set for lead acid, it doesn't do you any good. You just wasted $2,000.
So if you're prepping it for lithium, you're putting lithium in it.
Yes.
So that the customer doesn't have the chance, or the dealership, have the chance to ruin it.
Right,
Yeah,
exactly.
to make that mistake.
Oh, okay.
But the converter, every RV has a converter.
Yes.
That's what controls the energy. That's what has the breakers, the fuses, and trickle charges the battery, right?
Correct.
So everybody's got this little box in there. And now Lance uses a converter that can do lithium ion and it can do standard batteries.
Yes.
Correct?
There's a little we call a bridge in there.
Okay.
The service departments of all our dealerships will know. They can take a look, and it's a little black piece that has to be moved from these two prongs to these two prongs.
Okay.
So it's very simple for the dealership to do it. If you brought it in standard, which most dealerships are stocking them standard, but then you sell it and the customer says, I want lithium. Then your service tech goes into that portion of the converter charger, moves this bridge from here to here.
So you don't have to order it from the factory with lithium. If you buy a Lance, and this started in 2021, right?
It started September of 2019.
Whoa.
So if a unit was made after September of 2019, that new charger converter is in there.
Okay. So you could go either way. Or you could just get lithium straight from the factory.
Or you can get lithium straight from the factory.
But it'll be the same converters, just that that'll already be moved.
Yes.
The bridge will
Yes.
already be in
The bridge
place.
will already be in place.
And so
So
will
you
the
still have
batteries.
the option.
And so will the batteries.
Yeah.
Do the batteries go in the same place?
Yes.
Okay. Because one thing I know about lithium ion is that they don't have to be vented like the standard deep cycle marine batteries do.
Correct. With being a manufacturer, any battery we install, we have to put in a vented area. The laws have not caught up with lithium ion. So if we install the battery, we have to install it in the battery spot, which is a vented spot.
Well, and I don't think that's terrible because it's just a vented thing. And then what if you want to go back for some reason? Then
Well,
you
I
have a
can
vented
tell you why it's
compartment.
not wonderful.
Okay. Yeah, I want to know. Tell me.
The one issue.
The one issue with lithium ion is they don't charge below 34 degrees.
So having a vented
If you're up in
compartment.
Colorado on 4th of July and it snows, which it often does, and you're up enjoying the mountains, having a vented compartment is not a wonderful thing.
Okay.
Some manufacturers make a heating blanket, believe it or not,
For the
your
little tuck your
lithium
battery in at night.
Tuck your
Aw,
battery in.
so cute.
But what a lot of people do, especially in our setting, underneath the bed, you can move all the lithiums underneath there, and that is a heated area.
Yeah.
We as a factory cannot do that.
Okay.
Is it hard?
No. The
You
wiring's
just
very
move the
close.
wires?
You just move the wires.
Okay.
And that's what some people put 4, 5, 6 lithiums. Lithiums are very light.
Holy moly.
Yes.
Very light.
Oh, wow.
You'd probably at least a third, if not 25% of a regular battery weight.
Because they're not full of water, right?
not
You don't have
full
to
of water,
maintain them. You don't have to do anything.
You don't have all them fins
Lead
in
and
there.
water.
So they're very, very lightweight.
So it wouldn't be hard for a customer to move it inside to
Not
keep
at
it
all.
warm.
Not at all.
Okay.
And that's the other key. Another component of the lithium is the inverter, if you go that way. Okay.
And now
Okay.
this talks about what you can actually run.
Right.
The
Okay.
converter inverter thing makes my brain explode.
Well,
I'm a simple girl. Like, what is an inverter?
Convert usually helps you to charge the 12-volt system, the battery, if you're bringing in shore power. And invert turns 12-volt back into a
household current.
simple wall plug.
Back to AC.
So everything in a Lance except your air conditioner, your microwave is 12 volt. So
Right.
when you're plugged into 110, the converter converts 110 to 12 volt to run your lights, to run your furnace fan, to run the refrigerator brain. Okay. And charges your onboard batteries.
So to do those things and not be wait, never mind. Just move on. I'll figure it out later.
We'll draw a picture.
An inverter takes the power from your batteries, your 12 volt, and makes 110 power.
So you can do those things while boondocking.
Well, you can run your microwave while boondocking. You're not going to have enough inverter
Okay.
or battery power to
But you
run
can
an
run
air
your
conditioner.
microwave and your your 110
Yes, your
plugs.
110 plugs.
And we have, I mean,
Okay.
Breathing machine. Okay,
Okay.
that type of thing.
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay,
when
I get
you
that.
do the inverter from Lance, all 110 plugs become live, except for your refrigerator and your air conditioner. So any 110 plug, if you have a 110 coffee pot and you want to run it off your batteries,
Right.
you can do that with the inverter installed.
What size inverter does Lance put in?
It's a 1500 watt.
1500 watt. So you really don't need a huge inverter to run most kitchen
most- without a
appliances
doubt.
and things.
Yes.
Doesn't need to be that big.
Doesn't need to be that big. We get a lot of people that want to put in a 3500 watt. We're not going to do that from the factory, number one. Number two, to run an air conditioner or something that's going to require 3500 watts, you're going to need 10 batteries.
Yeah.
So 10
'Cause it's gonna
batteries
drain
and
it
a
really quick.
3500 watt inverter
So you're talking about a $15,000 system
to run your air
to
conditioner.
run your air conditioner
Without
without
being
running a
plugged in.
generator, without being
Jeez.
plugged in. Okay. So people,
Well,
some
it can
people
run
will
a
do it.
car.
Just go somewhere colder.
Now, another thing that just another I don't know, benefit of lithium ion is how many charging cycles you can have, right?
Without a doubt. They will last you. Most of them have anywhere from a 5 to 6 year warranty. Some actually come with a 10-year warranty,
Right.
where your standard lead acid battery, I believe, is 2, maybe 3.
2
but-
if you're lucky, maybe 1.
Yeah.
Depending on where they bought it.
Depending on where they bought it. And it's
Right.
probably on a scale, after 2 years, it's only covers this much, that type of thing.
I've seen some lead acid batteries that are like, you'll get 800, maybe 900 charging cycles, but a lithium ion, depending on what company you're looking at, 6,000, 8,000, 9,000 charging cycles out of lithium ion, which means, which brings me back to it. I mean, that initial cost seems like so much just because I don't have it in my pocket right now. And yet,
It's just
if
like
I look
anything
at
else.
this-
Yeah. If you pay for the cost up
years-
front, you're actually going to save money, but it's having,
having it on hand.
yeah.
Well, we're not the manufacturer rep getting all the questions, but our service departments gets questions regularly about my battery keeps dying. Well, you're running a lot of stuff.
Yes.
I mean, that's what they do. And your battery's probably tired. And they're like, well, it's only 2 years old.
Right.
But they have run it down to zero so many times that it can't really work very long or very efficiently.
And many of them do not check the water level.
That's the
they
big-
don't
yeah.
realize they're used to car batteries, which
Yeah.
most of them are sealed now.
Right.
The auto industry is very different from the RV industry. So that's one of the ways you have a lot more service things you need to do to an RV than you do to cars. So then the battery is a big part of that.
Yeah, and people don't know that they're abusing their
They have no
wet
idea.
lead acid battery
Yes.
that
Well-
needs filled. They don't know.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
So, what are some of the other questions that you get a lot? All of your 25 calls a day.
a week. Come on.
week.
Don't exaggerate.
Besides, will it run my AC?
It's really a matter of the consumer with what's happening with the pandemic and the explosion in sales. We're getting a lot of consumers that have no concept of a 12-volt system.
Right.
They're
vintage
maybe
RV.
like you, Lindsay. Okay. they have this dream that they're just going to buy a unit and go sit out in the desert or go sit out in the mountains.
Yeah.
And they don't understand what it's going to take to fulfill that dream. And whether it's a solar panel, or 2 solar panels. The solar panels that we put on as part of the system, 190 watt solar panels, great panels on our trailers, 16 foot and bigger. You can put 2 if you wish to. But if you get into the actual use of the panel, they're laying flat.
Right.
And in a solar panel, if you've ever seen one on a house or any place, it tilted up.
Yeah.
So the flat ones really work at about 25% capacity.
Because that's the amount of time that
'Cause-
the sun is going
Exactly.
down.
So the best system is to put one on the roof and then carry one. And then the one you carry is always going to be angled so that you can
Chase
point
the
it
sun.
towards the sun, instead of putting 2 on the roof. Well, I don't have the space for that, or I don't want to do that, or I don't want to take that time. That's up
your
to
choice.
you, Mr.
Yeah.
Customer.
Right.
I'm just telling you that portable one will be 3 times as efficient as that one laying on your roof.
Right.
And I tell people too, we're in Texas, right? We just had 10 days of 108
I don't want
degrees.
to park in the sun.
I want to park under a tree.
Right.
If there's a tree, which sometimes there isn't.
We're going
But
to
if
the
there's
tree.
a tree, I'm heading for the tree. So then it takes out your solar.
The onboard solar.
Yeah. But you can't really blame consumers because we have been taught, like your house you mentioned, just put solar panels all over your roof and it will run everything in your house. Well, it doesn't exactly run everything in your house. It charges a bank of batteries that then stores energy to run
and sends some
everything
power to something
in your house.
And still has to go through an inverter
Still
to
has
do
to
all
go through an inverter.
it has
very
a
large
system.
inverter. Yeah.
So Lance can do the whole system. Is that right?
Lance uses a Go Power system.
Okay.
And one reason I bring that up is one of the questions I get way too often is what size cable, what size power cord do they run from the solar panel to the converter?
I just got that question last week.
And my answer now is the proper size. Okay, because I got really tired of going to our engineer with every question like that. When we use Go Power solar panels, Go Power inverters, Go Power lithium batteries. Go Power has set this system up.
Right. They've
Right.
optimized
We
it.
use everything that they tell us
From
to
them,
use.
yeah.
Okay. So what size is that cable?
The size it was
The size it needs
supposed
to be.
Yeah.
And most people, I think, are asking it for twofold. Number one, just to make sure we know what we're doing. Okay, and Go Power knows what they're doing. So yes, we do. Number two, they might want to add to the system. Okay, I talked to a guy yesterday. He's going to put 4 solar panels on the top of a 1475. Knock yourself out. I don't know how they're going to fit.
Is there room for that?
No. But
Okay.
he's going to figure it
All
out.
right. Cool.
Okay. Well, let us know how that works out.
Yeah.
If you're listening.
But yes,
We want to see it.
our cable, our charge cord is not big enough for that. Ours is big
Right.
enough for 2.
Right.
Okay, anything you do, you're going to have to change that cord or
You have
add
to
another one.
upgrade.
You're going to have to upgrade. Okay, or whoever's installing it for you is going to have to upgrade.
Right.
So you're talking about the wire isn't big enough to take the power from 4 solar panels?
Yes.
Okay.
Efficiently
Right.
get that entire
So there's
amount of
different
energy
size
down.
wires depending on what you're trying to, the power you're trying to move
Right.
from one place to
Right.
another.
It's like-
Look at me, I'm learning.
Yeah, it's like a gauge basically,
Yeah,
gauge wire,
okay,
and so
yeah.
can it carry the bandwidth? Does
Okay.
it have?
Yeah.
Does it introduce resistance?
Well, and one reason, I mean, we've always sent a charge cord with our truck campers. And the main reason is we include an 8-gauge charge wire. Your standard 7-way bargeman that we use on the trailers only has a 12-gauge. Okay, so the truck campers
Yeah.
have a 12-volt refrigerator and 2 batteries. In order for your alternators to properly do all that, you need 8-gauge wire.
Now, because gauges work backwards, that might be
Yes.
something to mention.
Yes.
A 12 gauge is smaller than an 8 gauge.
Correct.
I knew that. Duh.
Good point. So yes, the smaller the gauge, the thicker the wire, the more power it can handle.
All right.
Well, in having this conversation about the entire system working together, I think there are probably engineers out there who love deciphering the details of building their own solar system, piecing
Yes.
it together. We all have very talented engineer customers.
Yes, we do.
But, for the most part, trailers should be built and designed so that you do not have to be an engineer to get the use out of it that you want. That's really what I would like to convey. We are not here to be the technical experts. We're here to say, yeah, obviously, but we're here to say that there is a system out there. Here's all the pieces you need to consider. Because what's the first thing that goes to somebody's brain? I'm going to look on Amazon and I can do this myself. I don't know why this costs so much. I found a battery I can buy for $720. And unfortunately, the battery itself is not the entire answer.
It's
You
not
need
even
to
part of the
understand that
answer.
that there is a whole system that goes with this.
Right.
So if you have,
I mean, it's a math equation, and you got to have all the parts to the equation.
yeah, but I don't want to be an engineer and I don't want to do the math.
That's why
I
you
want
go
to
with
buy a
Go Power.
system
Amen.
that works.
Yeah.
I want a system that works. And I know that I need, if I do lithium ion, I'm going to have a special converter and it's going to have to work with that. I'm going to know that it's not going to work when it's really cold. I'm going to know it weighs less. I can move it under the bed. That will help. And if I want a boondock, I need solar power coming in to keep it charged.
Yeah, and on the not going to work when it's really cold. I mean, there's like Go Power and a few of the other top brands. They have systems that they're building, smart batteries. Basically, the battery has a little
Has a
onboard.
warmer.
Well, it has a warmer or levels off the charging. They have so much technology built into that little box that you can't see. It has a little computer inside the battery.
Why can't they be used in cold weather? Do they freeze?
I don't believe they freeze. I just believe however they're made. I mean, obviously Teslas are sold in Minnesota. Teslas are sold in the cold weather.
Yeah.
So they can be used.
They can be discharged.
They can
It's a
discharge.
charging.
It's a charging. Now, why they don't, I don't know. Again, I'm not that
okay.
electrical engineer.
Okay.
So they can be used at 10 degrees, at 10 below.
You just can't charge
just
them if
can't
you're staying
recharge
someplace
them.
cold for a long
Yes.
time. And okay.
So there probably is, I mean, logically speaking, and I have no idea that someone will probably comment and correct us, but there's got to be something in a Tesla that warms it up so it'll charge. I mean, or gets it to a point where it will take that charge even in colder weather.
Even in colder weather, without a doubt.
Sure,
they're enclosed. They're in the car itself. So if the car is on and you got the heater running, that's going to heat that battery area.
However, if
Right.
it's sitting
Kinda like an old diesel
overnight
truck.
at your house, then it's not running. But
90% of them are indoors up there. Probably 95%, especially if you own a
that's
Tesla.
true. But I live in Texas. I've
Yep.
We know nothing about this.
It
What
snows
does
here.
cold mean?
Yeah, we get a flurry of snow that doesn't even stick on the ground, and the world stops.
my daughter builds snowmen out of cotton balls.
Oh my gosh, it's so, and they're like half grass and hay.
And so sticker burrs.
Anyway,
All right. Were we talking about weeds at the beginning?
Found them.
Get out of the weeds.
Found them.
Oh, okay. So, do I need to spend $2,000, $3,000 on lithium ion? Do I need to? Really? What do you think?
Oh man.
I've camped for 35 years and I've never used them. I think everybody's
What?
different.
How?
Well, because they didn't exist, you know. I also have not used a smartphone for the first 30 years of my life.
What?
there you go.
oh my gosh.
I know, and I survived. I'm still breathing.
What? How?
But, it all depends upon whether you're going to campgrounds or not.
Yeah.
If
Okay.
you're going to campgrounds, you don't need a lithium battery.
If there's a plug-in,
If there's a plug-in, you don't need it. If you want to be self-contained for 3 to 5 days and never charge, other than maybe a random solar panel that's going to get some sun, the lithiums will be a wonderful thing.
Okay.
And as we go along, it's the lithium and the inverters. What do do I need an inverter? What do you want it to do?
Yeah.
Okay, that has to be the question as far as I'm concerned. If you're talking 2 solar panels, 2 lithiums, and an inverter, you're talking $4,500.
And a partridge.
That's a chunk of change.
Yeah.
So make sure they know, or the consumer knows, what it's going to do for them. It is not going to run your air conditioner. It is not going to run your refrigerator brain, or on 12 volt, even your refrigerator. It is simply a support.
And I find that most people who want to go to the middle of nowhere for a long time don't love their microwave, right? They don't need
They
their
don't have to
microwave
have their
and their
microwave.
AC. They just need,
Basic
I need
power.
lights on.
Maybe
I
the
need
fan.
12
Yeah,
volt
the
fan,
fan.
the fantastic fan.
I'd like to listen to some music occasionally.
they may have a portable 12-volt compressor
Yeah.
refrigerator.
Other than that, yeah, I don't know a lot of people who want to just be off grid, but also
Glamping off
love
grid
their
is a whole
microwave.
different thing, right?
It is, without a doubt.
Yeah,
Without a
so-
doubt. And we're getting more and more, again, with the introduction of a lot of new people to the RV business. That is what they're looking for. And because they're looking for that, we're getting the calls. And we just need to make sure that we're clear and we can get them clear. The standard's probably going to be okay. Now, I talked to a lady 2 days ago that goes to Burning Man every year. Okay, so if you're going to go to Burning Man,
Whole
and
different
spend-
ballgame, right?
Whole different ballgame. Yes, you're going to want some support. You're
Yeah.
going to want lithium, probably. You're probably going to want the solar panels.
Right.
So why wouldn't you just get a generator?
The noise, having to refuel it.
Maintenance.
having
I'm
to
pretty
plug
sure
it
you're
in.
not allowed to have generators at Burning
I'm sure
Man.
you can't have one.
Actually.
Yeah, that's probably true.
It's probably true.
I never thought about that, but but that's the other thing people say. I'll just get a generator because I want to park it. I want to camp out at national forests. Well,
There may be restrictions.
yeah,
Yeah.
and they
And
usually
you'll
have 10
definitely have
o'clock
dirty looks.
cutoff time.
10 o'clock cutoff times for generators, without a doubt.
So
Unless you're really out in the boonies, and then trust me, somebody can still hear that generator.
yeah, someone will hear it.
Somebody will hear it.
It might keep the bears away, maybe.
Maybe.
Well, lithium ion is new, and we have survived a long time and had so many adventures without it.
But we likes it. We likes
But
it a lot.
does open a new
likes it.
avenue.
'Cause it's nerdy.
Well, he is the nerdy geek of the group, as we all know. Even you guys listening know that.
Well,
So
Guilty.
anything new that has engineering and technology with it, he wants to know about. But it seems to me that it will kind of extend opportunities here.
And the cool part about Clint is that's now our customer. we're getting a lot of people his age. Our 2445, 2185s have skyrocketed, our bunkhouse models. You're getting the young tech families that
With
are
kids,
saying that, we're not going to go to Disney World. We're going to go camping. So they're the ones that are really asking the question.
Yeah.
Because from their cell phones, from their computers, they've heard about lithium ion.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. My standard answer is get the regular batteries. If they don't work, you can always buy the lithium. In 2 or 3 years, they'll probably be a lot less money.
Right.
Okay.
And the new Lances are almost as plug and play as you can get because the converters that you've been
Yes.
using since the end of 2019.
Yes.
You just move that bridge.
You just move that bridge.
What an innovative company, Lance is.
Well, we try.
And I do think the other companies are going to catch up by next
Yeah.
year.
Oh, sure.
But they didn't start with it. So, yeah, that's a good question to ask if you're looking at an RV is the converter set to be able to adapt to lithium ion.
Right.
And for the past 5, 6, 7 years, AGM was the rage because there is a battery that's super heavy. It's pricey and it is a no maintenance battery, so you don't have to put water in it, and it doesn't supposedly have to be vented. It doesn't hold as much power as the lithium ion does.
So it's like a middle.
So it's kind of in the middle, but that has kind of gone away. We are not doing AGMs anymore.
I think it seems
is-
like if you're going to go AGM,
You might as well step up a little
then
bit
go
more.
lithium. Yeah.
if you want more power and you want no maintenance, that's the way to go now. If you're willing to put out the money, right?
That's the thing.
It's not free.
It's not free. And personally, I'm a little more conservative. I'm going to try it and see if I need it.
You're a cheapskate.
I'm a cheapskate.
Scott.
Conservative.
You are a cheapskate. I know that about you.
Yeah.
But if you I also know that you really love camping out in the Nowheresville.
Yeah.
So if you had an opportunity to go somewhere and stay for 3 weeks, you'd consider it,
A
right?
good-
Without a doubt.
A good
2,000 or 3,000?
Utah trip and up in that
Yeah.
area.
Without a doubt. But I would consider it if I know I'm not going to be driving or plugged in for a week. If you're not doing either of those two things, if you're not running a little generator during the day to run the air conditioner for a few hours, because that will help charge your batteries too.
That's right.
Well, that's a question I had. So it's still, when you are driving, it still charges a lithium battery just like it charges your other
Still
battery.
goes to the converter,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Yeah. So it'll be set up just that the charging system doesn't make any much difference from a lead acid.
Okay.
Okay. So it'll charge the same ways when you're driving through the solar panel, when you're plugged into 110.
Cool.
The other thing I thought of too is depending on the weight. I mean, batteries are heavy. What
They
are they? 30, 40 pounds?
I would have to say a lead acid battery is probably closer to 60,
Ew.
65.
So you could take maybe 50, 75 pounds off your tongue weight?
Yes. Very easily.
Wow.
Very
That's
easily.
huge.
That is huge.
If you have a lightweight vehicle and your tongue weight's a little heavy, that's interesting. Okay. All right. Good to know. Well, I'm kind of with you. I'm a cheapskate, but if I had a trailer and I had an opportunity to get away for weeks at a time,
Right.
it is well worth the money.
Well worth the money. I just
Well worth
spent,
the money.
as you know, a week down in Galveston and driving along the beach there, seeing all the RVs parked. If you're going to go sit on the beach for a week, probably well worth the money. Most of them do have a generator. So it's, if you're going to run the generator, like I say, 6 or 8 hours a day, that'll recharge your battery. So it's not that big a deal. It's not like you're running a furnace at night. Okay. So you're not using a lot of 12-volt power, but the lithium will give you a lot longer use
Right.
without having to recharge.
And
Right.
I like the idea. Last time I went camping, I ran the generator as little as I could, just because if I don't have that sound, it just sounds like I remember tent camping. You just don't you
Yeah, I
hear
can't,
nothing.
like having that sound for 6 to 8 hours a day.
I really hate it when my next door neighbor mows his lawn.
Oh, without a doubt.
Oh, he's so slow. He takes forever. And I want to sit on the patio and drink coffee. So, yeah, I'm a little snotty that way. Well, I think it is a great option. And if you don't have a Lance, that comes with all of the cool things, so you can just add lithium. I do know that just as a benchmark, it takes $2,000 to $3,000, depending on the trailer and what you add, to put in a lithium-ion system and change out the converter.
To retrofit
You're
from
going to
a
be
standard.
in that range. So it's an investment, but if you want what it can offer you, it's a great thing.
Correct.
And the downside, the only downside besides the money, is going to be the charging below freezing. And even
there's
then,
ways to work around that.
I think that has not been as much of a problem as people have worried about.
No,
So,
I totally agree. I mean, there are some people that will take them elk hunting from here that go up to Colorado, Wyoming, Montana. They will get in some colder weather.
Sure.
But the amount of times that it's truly below freezing might be at night, but then during the day, the sun comes up, it warms up to 40, your battery's charging.
yeah, and it's still actually working at night.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
and you know what? Talk to your dealer and tell them to move those batteries under the bed.
There you go.
Yeah. And
And
just,
then you got no problem.
and just check the manufacturer of the battery, because like I said, so many of them have smart features that have a computer built inside, and it deals with that for you.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Well, there are plenty of people out there who will get in the weeds on the details of lithium ion. We wanted to give you a quick overview to see if it's something that's worth it for you. So
I
we
learned like
appreciate
3 things.
3 things.
Yeah.
Wow.
Noah and Lindsay, that's pretty good.
Yeah, right? Oh, it does. So, well, Scott, thank you so much for your time. I'm glad Lance is doing this. They were one of the first manufacturers we've ever known of that really has taken this on at the factory level. And that's been great for our customers. We see a lot of them coming in with the lithium ion system. So, yeah, good for you. It's been great fun.
You're welcome. We appreciate it.
No problem. We'll see you again next time.
All right.
Scott.
Sounds good.
Well, talking to Scott is always cool, always informative.
I feel so smart.
Yeah, I don't. I feel like someone tapped a hole
I
in my
feel
head.
smarter.
Things I thought I
There
knew.
you go.
Things I-
Relative terms.
Yeah, things I thought I knew have been poured out of my head, and now I'm just muddled mush.
But I think the biggest thing that I learned is that you don't have to learn everything.
Right.
I don't know. That's kind of what I took away from this is if you find the right system, if you find the right manufacturer, and they can know it for you.
Yeah.
And all you have to know is what it runs.
So I totally get the people who want to DIY, do it yourself, a system. I get it. That's actually really fun for some people. And I could be one of those. Sure,
Nope.
absolutely, if I got time. The people who want to design their own system because they like it and because they think they can save money if they put in the actual install and math and all that, fine. By all means, that's a pathway. It works great. Have fun. However, there is a significant portion of the population that could benefit from this system is engineered and designed. All you have to do is screw in the components.
Right. But I think the biggest thing I learned today is, you know what? You have to think about how you're going to use it and if you really need it. It is really fun to have lots of cool gear, but nobody wants to have gear that you don't really need or really use. And there's a lot of misconceptions out there as to what a lithium-ion battery with solar can do for you. So I don't know.
Go camping without it, figure
Yes.
it out,
And see what
and then
you're
give us a
missing.
call.
And then you can figure out what you need to add. I don't know. I think that's a good way to look at it. Lindsay.
Sure.
Yeah. What are you missing? What are you not able to do that you wish you could do?
And guys, if you want to run that air conditioner, even with lithium, you're going to need a lot of lithium. And you're going to need a big inverter. So it's not so simple as, hey, I got 1 or 2 lithium batteries. I should be able to run my air conditioner.
Yeah, it's not one of those things that it would be nice if, if you want to do it, yeah, it's doable, but it's expensive.
Right.
So, yeah, lots of things out there to consider.
Absolutely. So it's super worthwhile, I think. And
Yes. Yes.
Maybe in future installments, we'll talk to other experts who can help us to get a little bit deeper and, I don't know, the math or different components, but
Yeah, we'll talk about this again, I'm sure. It's a big part of
I'm
camping now.
sure.
Yeah.
But let's take a break from talking about it.
Well, before we go, I want to welcome Go Power and thank them for sponsoring our podcast. We think they do a great job. They put together a great system, and we're going to keep chatting about them, and hopefully it'll be helpful to you guys.
very good, very good. All right. As always, check us out on iTunes or Stitcher or any other podcast player that you might use.
Ooh, and you can rate us if you want, but you have to scroll all the way to the bottom of all those episodes
On iTunes.
on iTunes
and
or
write
Apple
write
Podcasts.
something about us. Give us some stars. It kind of, we love reading them. It makes
Stars
us really
and feedback.
happy.
Thank you, guys.
Yep, absolutely. Goes a long way to help out people. It helps other people to find the podcast.
Sure.
And so
Sure.
that would help us, and helps us to keep on making these episodes. Give us ideas on what you want to know about.
Yeah, talk to us. RV Small Talk Community is actually a Facebook page where we can talk about anything RVs. You guys lead the group, put out suggestions, show us pictures.
Yep.
And yeah,
Well, until next time, it's been a blast. This is the RV Small Talk Podcast, and I'm out of here. Y'all out of here?
I'm out of here. Till next time.
Lindsay's already gone.
I'm over here thinking about solar.
She's gonna get a heat stroke. Don't go to the light.
Hey, can we change lithium-ion to just lion? Thanks, lady. You like that, right? The lion system. Come on. I don't want to say lithium-ion.
You should have said that when we were recording. That'd have been fun. Can we just shorten it?
I mean, I didn't stop recording.